Hello! I wanted to make a video, but I had to take my glasses off. Otherwise, you were going to see the power of 1,000 suns shining upon my face and reflecting back into your face, and that was not going to be very fun because these glasses, you see that glare? It's not great. It's not great. So I took the glasses off, and here I brought the alpaca back. So my little alpaca friend is back with us. I don't have a good place to put him down, but anywho, I decided to write out notes. And when I say notes, it's literally 3 blurbs that I can't see because I took my glasses off. Oh, it's a video outline. And I get to thinking, why do people suffer? I have some things to reflect on. Mostly I just wanted to be able to get some things off my chest. We live in a world where everything seems to just be set up in such a way that very few people get to have all the benefits. And it's because those few people want to have all the power. But there's going to be a time when the power is not with those people, because there is a thing that's going to be happening, and I wish I had a better way of doing all this stuff, but my consciousness does not operate the way a lot of people's do. But I get to thinking about this biblically, because I did take the Bible course with Alora. She's a great teacher. And I get to thinking about Isaiah 42. Behold my servant whom I uphold, my chosen in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry aloud or lift up his voice or make it heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not grow faint or be discouraged till he has established justice in the earth and in the coastlands. Wait for his law. Thus says God, the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it, and spirit to those who walk in it. I am the Lord, I have called you in righteousness. I will take you by the hand and keep you. I will give you as a covenant for the people, a light for the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, from the prison, those who sit in darkness. I am the Lord, and that is my name. My glory I will give to no other, nor my praise to carved idols. Behold, the former things have come to pass, and new things I now declare. Before they spread forth, I tell you of them. And there's a bunch of people waiting for the return of Yeshua or Jesus, and reflecting back on what my friend Alora said. He's not gonna have to incarnate again, because as she said, he's been resurrected, so he's not gonna have to come back here to endure the suffering that this world puts upon people who are different, especially if they're messengers. This world hated God before it hated any of us. So being that the light of God lives in those of us that are still here and needs help being expanded upon, they're gonna do their darndest to make people suffer so that they give up on that light and toss it to the side. If you look at Isaiah 53, people think that is Yeshua. Well, because when they look leading up to that, in this book, the English Standard Version, it said he was pierced for our transgressions And it says, "Behold, my servant shall act wisely. He shall be high and lifted up, and he shall be exalted." And I get to thinking about these visions that I do have. And I had somebody pick me up off the ground, and I recognized that his name was Abram. And I'm just like, I'm pretty certain that it was a past life memory, but I have noticed that these things come up because they're also messages to me as well. So, in leading up to 53, Isaiah 53, it says, continuing on from verse 14, "As many were astonished at you, his appearance was so marred beyond human semblance, and his form beyond that of children of mankind. So shall he sprinkle many nations. Kings shall shut their mouths because of him, for that which has not been told them they see, and that which have not heard they understand." And then here's the famous chapter 53. "Who has believed what he has heard from us, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he grew up before him like a young plant, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And as one from whom men hide their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not." And you get to wondering who that is. And it just seems like there's a whole broader understanding that needs to happen here. People that truly love God, people that truly want to live a virtuous and righteous life, they're not treated well in this world. If they were loved by this world, they would be accepted as one of its children. But because they long to continue being children of God, or they seek to be closer to God, the world despises them. A lot of people are gonna think it means being part of a church, but it doesn't mean being part of a church here and learning more of the ways of this world as they teach it through the church. It just means you're gonna have to establish some sort of relationship with the Father, because if you're not in that relationship with the Father, you're still going to be impacted very much so by the lower vibrational energies of this world that lead you towards temptation and into the valleys of death. And it's people who are righteous and good, they carry grief because they have such empathy for other people. This isn't just about one singular person. This could be a collective of people that care, have empathy and sympathy for others, not those that are wicked, who just laugh and mock people, and they cheer when somebody's unalived, as I'm gonna have to say. We're gonna have to use some dumb definitions, aren't we? But anyway, surely he has borne our griefs, carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, when with his wounds we are healed. We like sheep have gone astray, we have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. And I think about the interpretation of this. Feeling into it, I get the sense that people wanted to interpret it so very much on the surface level, and you have to recognize that when they wrote these scriptures, they did it very much so knowing that people would look only at the surface of it. Think about how many injustices have befallen good people just because evil people manipulate the system for their own gains, and make crooked laws, so to speak, to basically persecute those that want to stand up righteously and virtuously. And you look at here, and it's like, okay, sinners go astray and they hurt those that care about them. Think about it. Somebody's gonna become an addict, and they harm their body, they harm their spirit. And what do? To the people that care, to the people that want them to be able to recover, they hurt them because they want to go astray and they don't want to live by what is good. They don't want to follow, Heavenly Father's ways. They just want more of what keeps them trapped in the cycles of karma, where they just waste more and more of that light inside themselves. So verse 7 continues, he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to slaughter, and like a sheep that before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. And as for his generation, who considered that he was cut off out of the land of the living, stricken for the transgressions of my people, and they made his grave with the wicked, and with a rich man in his death, although he had done no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth. That is a tricky one, because people automatically think that it's talking about Jesus. Consider that the tomb was opened and his body wasn't there. Clearly he was resurrected. He didn't die and stay buried. And there is a trick here. If you go to the grave with the wicked, the rich man, and the rich men, take a look at Ecclesiastes, why don't you? So there is this book in here, people attribute to Solomon. In the words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. And it does say in there that the good and the wicked go to the same place. And I just got to think about, where does it say specifically? The vanity of self-indulgence, vanity of wealth and honor, fear of God. Keep the king's command. Oh, let's see. Aha! Death comes to us all. Chapter 9, Ecclesiastes. But all this I laid to heart, examining it all, how the righteous and the wise and their deeds are in the hand of God. Whether it is love or hate, man does not know. Both are before him. It is the same for all, since the same events happen to the righteous and the wicked, to the good and to the evil, to the clean and the unclean, to him who sacrifices and him who does not sacrifice. As the good one is, so the sinner, and he who swears as he is he who shuns an oath. This is an evil that is done under the sun, that the same events happen to us all. And if I could get to the point where it just, I don't know, I'm so disorganized, right? What is it, 13 minutes of disorganization? But think about it. Take a look at the book, Ecclesiastes, and take a look at Isaiah. Does that sound like somebody that came from heaven and is going to reincarnate here? If Yeshua, has been resurrected and he's not going to incarnate here, as Alorasian said, don't you think it's going to be somebody else? Who is a man of sorrows? Who proclaimed himself to be a man of sorrows? Doesn't that sound a lot like King David? Just saying. If you think about it, if you look at Ecclesiastes, the Psalms, you look at Isaiah, and then you look at, somebody sitting upon the throne of David, there's all sorts of references to David. Why are there all these references to David? Okay, the Lord, who incarnated here as Yeshua, he's got an important job that requires him to be in spirit to do it. And it has to do with the rapture. He cannot rapture anybody that has not made themselves ready for the wedding, so to speak. And the way you get ready for the wedding is you got to stop being a person of suffering. But we live in a world that takes advantage of everybody and causes them to suffer. I've been through it. I didn't grow up with a cushy childhood. I went to school and I had to learn the hard way that people are mean and they don't care about how you feel. They don't care about whether or not you're struggling. They don't care if you want to do the right thing, because to them it's all about their own ego. The image that they put on. And what the heck is going on? Anyway, if you want the world to stop suffering, you're going to have to recognize what needs healing within. You're going to have to take the steps to address it all. And it's systemic. It's been done to all of us. But think about the consequences that happens to everybody because we live in this matrix, this reality complex, whatever you want to refer to this system here, this, reality. We're all subjected to the same thing. Just because somebody is an ascended master and they're bright, beautiful, full of heavenly light energy, it doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to them. I have a friend that lives in New Jersey and things happen and it puts her through hardship. And yet she has the strength to carry herself through it. And she's trying to lead by example to people how to stop suffering so much inside themselves. If people can get together and to do more what is right and not be so fixated on what is wrong in this world, everything will sort itself out because Heavenly Father has a plan and we should trust in Him and His plan. There's a reason why there's all sorts of people believing that rapture is going to happen at a certain point in time. And it's like, no, there are many false second comings before the real one happens. We didn't even get to the real one yet. And I listen to what Alora Cian writes or says. You can't listen to writing unless you can imagine it in your head. I suppose you could. But anyway, yeah, I follow what she says. And if you're not subscribed to her blog on her actual services website, you're going to miss out on a lot of information because you're going to be left trying to figure out what is right and wrong in this world. And I'm among, a group of people that have a high level awareness. And I have to be discerning all the time as to what's going on. And it is hard. It is baffling how people are supposed to get by. And I was somebody that was spiritually asleep. And I had to go through a spiritual awakening, and I had to learn the right and wrong, good, bad. I had to learn to make changes within myself. I had to be reborn again. And in order for you to really feel Heavenly Father's love, you have to go through the process. You can't just say, oh, I accept the words of Jesus Christ and I accept the blood payment that He gave on the cross. And I'm like, that is barbarism. You're going to say that, the yeeting, the destruction of a man and and the teachings that he brought in warrants, having your karma cleared. It's like, no, you still have your karma. Karma is the consequences of your actions. If you can stop repeating the decisions that are not good and start making more decisions that are good, you'll start being able to work away at the karma. You have to clear the karma. You have to get it cleared. You have to do your lessons. You have to know right and wrong. And you have to hold yourself accountable. And if you want to make it and be collected up for the rapture, you have to have a good heart. If you don't have a good heart, there's nothing that could be done. If you've already sold your soul, there's nothing that could be done. But if you have a good heart and you're just a little wonkadoo up in here, we can still work with it. You gotta get this situated so that you're not being held back and tempted to do the wrong things. Because evil people will enjoy doing evil things. They don't care, even though they'll pretend to speak up for, human rights. They'll pretend to do a lot of good things. But ultimately what they want is darkness. Because they don't really care. They only care about their image. And if they truly cared about God, they would be living according to the way he does things, through the hierarchy, from the biggest to the smallest. Without that hierarchy, there's no bridge. And people have to be able to make that connection from here to up here. And it needs this to be it, working with this. Bruh. I'm gonna have to end this video. Bye-bye.